Why should we bother with meditation? Well, it does reduce stress, anxiety, depression, blood pressure, and inflammation, and it improves sleep, focus and concentration, creativity, pain management, and our interpersonal relationships. But even when we know this, getting started with meditation is really difficult, and doing it every day might feel next to impossible. Well, that changes with this video, where we will go through a step-by-step guide to establishing a meditation practice so you can finally experience those benefits for yourself. If you'd like a deeper dive into these principles, as well as some resources I recommend, check the links in the description. If you've tried and failed to establish a consistent meditation practice in the past, this likely means you didn't leverage the science of habit formation to do so. We must utilize this tool. Otherwise, we'll be working against ourselves the whole way. You may start off strong, but eventually something will come up and you'll miss a day, then another, and soon those days will add up and you'll forget all about meditation and be right back where you started. So, in order to set ourselves up for success, we must work with ourselves by doing the following: setting a low bar, tying our meditation habit to something we already do, being as specific as possible about our new habit, and teaching ourselves to see meditation as its own reward. Let's go into each of these in detail. Step 1 is to set a ridiculously low bar. What we want is the equivalent of one push-up. Set your initial goal so that it feels so easy that skipping it would be embarrassing. Perhaps that is 2 minutes, or it could be 1 minute. The goal first and foremost is to get the habit going, and since we live our lives on autopilot, this is what's required to nudge ourselves in the right direction. Use this low bar as your standard. No matter how long you've been meditating, you can always go back to this and count it as done for the day. Expect that you'll miss days here and there, but if it's easy enough, you'll always be able to come back to your habit. Step 2 is to tie your meditation to something you already do every day. This will be your cue that it's time to meditate. What you choose is not super important, but it's gotta be something that you do every day and ideally around the same time. I use brushing my teeth as my cue. I'd also recommend having a backup cue in case you miss your first one. So if I didn't meditate after brushing my teeth for whatever reason, I have another opportunity to meditate right when I get into bed. Step 3 is to be as specific as possible on your new habit. Decide on the steps leading up to your habit, a location, a position, and a time, and stick to that as much as you can. This is what ingrains it in your mind and eventually allows your body to do it on autopilot. When I got started, I'd literally stand in front of the bathroom sink after I brushed my teeth and started a timer for 2 minutes. Step 4 is the final step in the habit formation loop, the reward. A lot of people advocate giving yourself a treat after completing your desired habit, but this is the wrong approach. Intrinsic motivation is much more powerful than extrinsic motivation, so you don't want to externalize the reward. If you can teach yourself to see the activity itself as rewarding, you'll be able to do it easily. With meditation, this is simple because just a minute or two is enough time to take yourself out of the mental state you were in before and step into a place of peace and calm. Okay, now on to the meditation routine. The first level is to keep your body as still as humanly possible and observe what happens. Don't move except for the natural rhythm of your breath and watch how your mind goes on and on about stuff. You'll have an itch. You'll remember something that you need to do later. You'll feel bored and want to check your phone. You will eventually notice yourself getting caught up in the melodrama of the mind and lose yourself in it. When this happens, simply bring your attention back to the object of focus. Catching yourself like this is actually a good thing because you're increasing your awareness each time you do so. This first step is critical because the untrained monkey mind jumps from branch to branch nonstop. We usually get pulled along with the mind, but this simple act of observation will allow you to create a sense of separation between you and your mind and begin to take its power away. Doing this first will make it easier to go into deeper meditations later, since stillness in the body leads to stillness in the mind. Once you're able to stay perfectly still without fidgeting and without moving your eyes under your eyelids or your tongue in your mouth for 2 minutes, you can add an extra minute until you can do this for 10 to 15 minutes straight or incorporate the meditation from level 2. Instead of focusing on your body as a whole, move through it piece by piece, noticing the sensations that come up in each body part as you do. You can start on your toes or at the top of your head, whatever feels easier. Again, whenever you notice your mind drifting away, simply bring it back to the object of focus. Once you are able to complete this and feel yourself consistently wanting more, incorporate level 3. The breath happens naturally, but it is also something we can consciously control, so it is an excellent point of focus for meditation. Repeating a word or phrase in your mind as you breathe can also be helpful. Since the mind is so easily distracted, giving it something specific to focus on can reduce how many times your attention drifts away. You can use the classic Om or whatever else you'd like. Experiment until you find one that works for you. These 3 levels are more than enough to provide you with all the benefits we outlined, but there are other meditation tools you can add to your repertoire if you want to go deeper. Things like gratitude, loving kindness, view from above, walking meditation, or deep concentration are all great to add once you have the basics down. We don't have time to go through them in this video, but check the description if you'd like to learn more. Meditating regularly is really difficult, but if you are able to break the process down as we've outlined in this video, you'll be well on your way to being a regular meditator in no time. Remember that no matter how long you've been meditating, you can always fall back to your low bar of 2 minutes. As you level up, you will move beyond the physical and mental benefits we've outlined and begin to realize there's more to meditation than you initially thought. You will begin to realize its true purpose, to show you what's true. Through meditation, you will not only increase your mindfulness, equanimity, and inner peace with each session, but you will begin to create a sense of separation between your thoughts and emotions and your awareness. You will see that those thoughts and emotions are not you, and that perhaps your attachment to them is not necessary. Eventually, you will begin to see that your sense of self, the very idea of who you are, is also just a thought, and thus perhaps could be something you don't have to be attached to. This is a difficult truth to come to terms with, but eventually, you will realize that perhaps it is your resistance to accepting this truth that actually stands in your way. Thanks for watching.